my children. In our last video, we had discussed on 4-digit numbers in an abacus and comparing 4-digit numbers. Hope you might have completed the activity which was given to you in your math book and notebook also. And today we will discuss on Roman numbers. That is your chapter 3. Welcome to your math class.
All of you know the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 to represent all the numbers. You know why there are only 10 digits and who developed this method of representing numbers? People in ancient India developed this method. These are only 10 digits because they use fingers to count the numbers. In ancient day, the Roman used different numerals. These numerals are still used occasionally to represent the classrooms, the sections, pages of the books and number of the clocks and number of some ancient houses. Roman numerals are formed by using these 7 symbols. I stand for 1, V stand for 5, X stand for 10, L stands for 50, C stand for 100, D stand for 500 and M stand for 1000. So whenever we are discussing these numbers, we have to write so many numbers like 11, 15, 19. So how we write these numbers? We follow some rules to write these numbers. Rule number 1. When certain Roman numerals are repeated, the numbers represented by them is their sum. For example, I stand for 1. I plus I, double I. Double I stand for 2. I plus I, triple I. Triple I stand for 3. Another example, X stand for 10. X plus X, 2X. 2X stand for 20. Rule number 2. No Roman numerals can come together more than 3 times. For example, 3 stands for triple I, but 4 stands for 4 I's. No, in this place 3 stands for triple I, right, but 4 stands for fourth I. It is wrong. Rule number 3. When we write any small number before the greater number, the number is subtracted from the greater one. For example, IV. I stand for 1. V stand for 5. IV stand for 5 minus 1, 4. Another example, IX. I stand for what? I stand for 1. X stand for 10. IX equals to 10 minus 1, 9. IX stand for 9. IX stand for 9. Rule number 4. When we write any smaller number after the greater number, it is added with this number. For example, xi. X is the greater number and I is the smallest one. The X stand for what? X stand for 10. I stand for 1. So, in this rule, we add 10 plus 1. 10 plus 1 equal to 11. The xi equal to stand for 11. Example number 2. Vi. V stand for 5. I stand for 1. Vi stand for 5 plus 1, 6. Vi stand for 6. Rule number 5. Some Roman numerals aren't repeated. For example, V, L and D. You know, V stand for what? 5. L stand for 50 and D stand for 500. These symbols are not repeated. Children, let us recollect what we study today. The first rule is when certain Roman numerals are repeated, the number represented by them is their sum. For example, I plus I equal to double I represent 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Double I stands for 2. Then the second rule, when we write any smaller number before the greater number, the number is subtracted from the greater number. For example, when we write some smaller number is the I and the greater number is V. I represent what? 1. V represent 5. According to this rule, 5 minus 1, the smaller number is subtracted from the greater number, equal to 4. The IV represent 4. IV represent 4. When we write any smaller number after the greater number, it is add with this number. First, it is a greater number. For example, x is the greater number, I is the smaller number, xi. You know, x stands for 10, I stand for 1. According to this rule, 10 is added with 1. It is 11. The 11 stands for xi. Yeah, xi stands for 11. xi stands for 11. No Roman numerals can come together more than 3 times. No Roman numerals can come together more than 3 times. For example, triple I stands for 3, you know. But 4 I's are not stand for 4. It is wrong. The last one, some Roman numerals aren't repeated. What we study today, based on the topic, some activities for you. Chapter 3, Exercise 5 in your book, page number 33, 34 and 35. Do it in your notebook and book both. Thank you, children. Again we will meet in your next video. Stay home, stay happy.